Initially, I wanted to make a tier list video talking about the BT04 deck list. However, after thinking for a while, I decided not to do it immediately due to the fact that the deck is currently just been released and not a lot of people still haven't found like the right spot for certain ratio of the cards yet. So instead of doing a tier list video, I decided to rank my own preference of the top 10 cards of BT04. But we are not going to do just one. We are going with 3. Yes, I'm going to talk about the triple Rs, the double Rs, and the rare and commons, you know, the forgotten one. So I will be judging these cards based on mainly 3 criteria. 1, which is how well does it do its role. 2 is its splashability into the other deck that is not intended for. And last but most important one is that how well does the card improve the performance of the deck it intended for. To show you an example, we will take Verena for example. Verena is technically an engine card as it helps to draw 2 more cards and is currently actually playable by most of the decks in Dragon Empire due to the fact that there is a new card that exists to help to call Grade 0 from the drop zone. And as we all know, Arcs is one of the most important overdress card in the overdress deck. So yeah, this is just roughly the example of how I judge these cards. As usual, this video is heavily my opinion based, so if you guys have your own opinion on your top triple R cards, do leave in the comments down below. And also, if you enjoy this kind of content, consider like, share and subscribe to this channel, and ring that bell to keep up with all the notification, as all these actions will really help my channel. So for those who actually bother to do, thank you so much. And without further ado, let's get into my top 10 triple R cards from the BT04. Trick Moon is a very good card for Bragasava and a decent card for the deck that has ability to call Grade 0 to a specific circle. Unfortunately, due to the effect of the new Grade 3s that allow you to call a card from the drop zone, the Grade 0 specifically, you can't really call it to the back row circle. So currently the only deck that is currently able to play this particular card are Bragasava and Nirvana. And compared to the rest of the card that is not on this list, it is definitely helps the deck a lot. Like it helps Bragasava to hit a lot harder to complement its high level of pressure with the Vanguard skill. And yeah, it's generally a very good decent counter charger, Most of the counter charger in Dragon Empire so far has been kind of like must hit to activate, but for Trick Moon you don't really need to do that. The only problem though is the fact that you need to call it behind the Vanguard, which makes the calling situation a little bit worse for many of the decks. And yeah, I think overall Trick Moon is a very strong card when it comes to how well does it improve the decks, but fall flat when it comes to its splashability and it's the intended role to do. Like it do just barely pass the role that it is given, being a resource unit as well as a very heavy hitter unit. This card, in my opinion, is a bit more on the sleeper side of the triple Rs due to the fact that it has horrible base power and it seems to be gearing toward one specific bright lines. However, its usability, it goes way more just than that, and I think a lot of people should try to play this card in their deck, and that is Roaming Prison Dragon. As we all know, Roaming Prison Dragon is fully intended to be an alchemagic based card. However, its usability lies in the fact that it actually can be revived by itself as long as you activate the order card. And as you all know by now, Stoicheia has some of the best orders card that can be used generally in many of the decks.
Interesting.
You technically can play this card in Magnolia using its gain crit skill, and just use Magnolia other skill and other rare card like Caligula and Magnolia Elder to give a power to Elder so that it can hit for a very respectable number with an extra crit. And you technically also can run this card in the Flagwork Dragon using together with the Grade 1 that enable any rare card to be a restander. This actually allow the Roaming Prison Dragon to hit for a magic number within his own effects, provided you actually run an order in Flagwork, which I don't see a lot of people doing it. The point I'm trying to say is that this card is actually usable a lot more than a lot of people think it is, despite the fact that if you use in the other non-alchemagic deck, you technically only get one of the effect you can use your brain to kind of like make it actually playable because of how malleable this card actually is. And that is why I want to put it into the list, just to kind of like promote and like try to kind of say that, hey, this is actually not bad as a lot of people think it is. It is one of those cards that as long as you do play others and you do have some spare space in your deck, you definitely can run a few copy of this and, you know, use it as a free rear card that doesn't need to worry it too much as long as you actually play the order.
No, he's got a point.
Number 8 goes to Brainwash Roller. As we all know, Dorian is by far one of the strongest cards that came in DI, and Brainwash Roller is essentially a slightly nerfed version of that, you know, being grade 3 restrict to it. However, its potential is actually really high. Damn! As long as you have a Dark State deck that do use a lot of Soul Shard specific cards, like the card that have a Soul Shard symbol on it, you definitely can run this card because this card can hit a disgusting level of number. It definitely very useful in Barrow Magnets deck as it does help the earlier turn of Barrow Magnets, you know, the pre-15 soul boost turn to be quite aggressive because of its ability to hit for quite hard, which is one of the weaker point of the Barrow Magnets. However, it actually has the best place in Bruce deck. Bruce does have a good number of cards that soul charge in specific, and at the same time you can use Bruce effect to restand Swirler to actually hit the opponent for a really high number. In fact, it is higher than any of the final specific support card that is ever released so far. So yeah, I do think that Brainwash Roller is definitely a very good adversary as it does work well in a lot of decks, and it does boost the power level of the deck intended it for, being Barrow Magnets, really cheaply well. And that's why I decided to put into the number 8 on the list. You know, it's being a very good resource card and a heavy hitter just like Trick Moon, but a lot easier to use. The only reason I'm not putting it higher though is that it is kind of awkward to use as it doesn't trigger when you put card into soul by other card effect, you know, with Barrow Magnets and all those. So that's why I decided to leave it at number 8. The next two entry will actually be an entry that I do feel quite controversial due to the fact that it can be treated as some of the base card released in these boosters.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
And for number 7, it is Bastion Prime. What the fuck? There is definitely no denying that Bastion Prime by far is some of the strongest finisher among all the released grade 4 of this booster. However, it does bring a good number of problems that the deck does not have initially. As I mentioned before in my Bastion video, what makes Bastion so strong is due to the fact that it has ability to be balanced, and its drive check ability essentially converts your bad drive check into a really good one. However, the problem lies with Bastion Prime is that for one, you do have a limited amount to actually trigger these effects. That means that you actually kind of need to ruin the balance in terms of deck building, as you may need to run a few more copies of the original Bastion to actually make the triggering discard effect consistent.
No, he's got a point.
Not only that, it is actually kind of ruined the balance a bit due to the fact that some of the cards will no longer work well with Bastion himself. Fortunately, BT04 did release a few number of cards that actually works very well with Bastion. However, if you are thinking whether how much Bastion Prime actually improved the deck strength, then we realize that it doesn't really improve that much. Its only actually improvement is that it actually make your final turn a guaranteed final turn. Yes, I do agree that it's actually quite good when you can guarantee your final turn, but Bastion final turn has always been quite consistent to begin with, so I don't see the reason why you actually needed to have a card that actually causes a final turn to be guaranteed. Number 6 is actually Unrivaled.
There's a little bit of
You're
insum
failing on the highest level.
No. we have
Okay, before a lot of you guys actually piss off with my listing here, let me explain about Unrivaled. Unrivaled is definitely an improvement over original Bruce, and as I already mentioned in my video talking about Bruce is quite a selfish boss unit, and the trend does continue with this particular Unrivaled, as you do still need a 5 Soul Blast and now a Counter Blast. So what makes Unrivaled better than Bruce? Well, in my opinion, not much. However, the additional Vanguard attack with a Drive Check does help in a lot of situations where you don't get hit a trigger on your first 3 drive check. So additional drive check included with additional attack is always welcome. However, when it comes to power boost level of the deck, boosting the deck itself, it's actually kind of a bad boost card. Like, it does give you a new boss unit, but it's also quite a bad boss boost card in the way that it kind of lock out in some of the strongest support that you do have in the deck. A very good example for this is of course Lalita, and with Arrival you cannot use Lalita anymore, and I'm not sure whether is it a word it traded or not, because of the fact that you are ruining your multi-attack possible combo with the fact that you can just restand one more attacks. So if you guys do think that Unrivaled Vanguard restand is actually worth the trade of the Lalita, leave down in the comments below. In fact, my 6th and 5th entry is kind of interchangeable in the way that if you do think of Vanguard attacks, additional Vanguard attacks is actually better boost, then it's definitely in the 5th place. But if you guys do think that the power boost of the Unrivaled is a little bit weaker than the next card in the list, then you can keep the list as it is. Number 5 is Lalita. Okay, so for the reason why I think Lalita is better than Unrivaled is due to the fact that it enables the multi-attack in Hexa Object, which is by far something that it does need when it comes to offensive prowess. Like, it is a very good deck when it comes to stacking the power. Now it has ability to use that additional attack to kind of like disrupt the opponent a little bit before actually hitting it hard with a really high level number. Not only that, it is able to restand any units. That means that you can technically use this together with Forza to actually recoup the whole cost of Lalita cost to begin with. So TLDR, Lalita actually enable one of the best aspects of Lefisto Hexa Orb build, but at a much lower cost and a lot more flexible, as you can use any unit to actually restand. And personally for me, I do feel that that particular boost is a lot better than what Prime bring to the Bastion deck and what Unrivaled bring to the Bruce deck. Magnolia Elder is what I would like to call a proper grade 4, as it is one of those grade 4 that actually has a huge improvement over its grade 3 version. Not only that, it also fixed multiple of the issues that the deck used to have, but now no longer as much. It generates more rare cards from Soul, which actually does help to fill up the field for Magnolia very quickly. It enables all the units to attack from back row, although it doesn't work with many of the cards. It is still a very good effect, as it does mean that all you need is to have a Magnolia in Soul or Red Guard Circle to actually trigger all this effect. Elder also improved Magnolia defense to an extent, in a sense that it does allow the interceptor to be intercepted from back row. So in general, Elder gives so much quality of life to the deck itself, and also fix some of the largest problem that the deck does have. Also, I almost forgot to say it, but it does fix personal right issue as well. Number 3 is a card that really improved the deck from being in the lower tier in my opinion to one of the high tier almost instantly, and that is Bakuburito. You know, the snake from the Gravidia support. So as I mentioned in my tier list video, the problem with Gravidia is the fact that she kind of have a limited bullet, and that means that she kind of need to play defensively to really pull off some of her effect regularly. Bakuburito actually fixed that issue by literally just play Meteor card from your drop zone.
Hey, that's pretty good.
And in my opinion, it's also a very good pressure card, as it does have ability to gain a critical and a power if you retire 3 or more rare cards.
Synergy.
Albeit it's a little bit more restricted, I do think that it actually really helps the deck a lot. Together with some of the new support for Gravidia, Bakuburito actually improved Gravidia from being a little bit less OP deck due to the fact that there's the limit power to it, to a really good deck, as it allowed the deck to activate the 5 meteor effect of Gravidia very consistently, or a lot more often than it was back in BT03. And I think that alone helps to bring the Gravidia to its best form more often, is to be worth consider as one of the 3 best cards, I mean the RRR cards, in this list. Number 2 may be a little bit of a surprise to a lot of people, but it goes to Escuridia. Escuridia, as for those who don't know, is the very first grade 4 overdress unit, and personally for me it is by far one of the strongest that they actually has, as it does have ability to guarantee 2 attacks on its own, albeit it does have some restriction of needing to be attacked first before the Vanguard attack before it can be restand, but I do think its power gain is more than enough to actually worth its play in this list. In addition to that, this is actually a very good card to combo with Expecta. I'm not sure about this, so do leave a comments below if my understanding is wrong. As you all know, Overdress is a specific type of calling, and it doesn't really have a great restrict requirement, especially as for Expecta, since you only need Overdress unit. This means that you can Overdress from Escuridia into Expecta and gain all the power from all the dress that is under the Escuridia earlier into Expecta and hit for, I would say, close to 100 millions with an extra crit. Of course, this is one of the more fun random tactic that I can thought of when I was looking into the Overdress ruling. So if you guys think that it is wrong mechanically, do leave in the comments below. However, it doesn't change the fact that Escuridia is a great card. In fact, it's the only reason why you're willing to play Mahanirvana in your Overdress deck, as Escuridia is such a powerful unit. And number 1 is, well, I think you all can kind of guess, it's Pure Light.
Of course!
How can it not be Pure Light? Pure Light, not only it is a huge improvement over Seraph Snow, it's also bind a lot through prisons. Like it bind total of 6 possible 6 cards from the opponent field, hand and soul into the prison. That means that it trigger almost every prison unit that is currently available. As we all know, most of the prison unit have at least requirement of 1 to 4 prison, so this actually activate all of it. Pure Light also give an offensive capability into the deck by allowing every single unit on your front row to gain more power based on the number of cards in prison.
Damn, boy! Damn, boy! He's thick!
And the more you have, the more benefits you get. You have 10 or more, you get an extra crit. So Pure Light in general just boosts everything that prison really need. It gives more ways to prison cards, and I think by far one of the best way to prison. It makes prison a lot more offensive, and it makes prison actually became one of the top tier deck in my opinion in the current Overdress format. And that's all I have for this video. If you guys think that my opinion is wrong, do leave it in the comments below and explain the reasoning why. And you know, keep your list of top 10 RRR cards from BT04. And that is all I have for today. Take care of yourself, and this is Magnolia signing out.